A virginal Virgo. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm gonna use that in a blooper, Mom.
Isn't Virgo supposed to be like nurturing and mothering?
I'm J.R. Phillips. I'm the one that won't shut up, and yeah, you can't make me, okay?
And I'm Nico Harlekenden. I'm the one who took notes, lit them on fire, and then started a completely separate new project instead.
And welcome to BAM! Now you know everything!
One time I did read my dad and my mom's charts when we were on a vacation at that beach. I forget what the beach was
New
called.
Smyrna. New
Yeah.
Smyrna.
You said sperm.
And she's not a virgin anymore. No.
But it was
Yes, New
interesting
Smyrna.
because it was a lot of like secret Leo and Pisces in my mom's chart. There was Pisces.
Just like you.
I forget where in it, but it was
Both of my girls are water.
Katie's air.
Oh, Aquarius.
I thought she
Aquarius.
was. I thought she was.
Aquarius is the water bearer, but
Yeah.
it's an air sign because it doesn't know what it wants to be. It's too abstract.
Can't make up its mind.
So you did an interview with another forbidden fruit author today?
I did, yeah, right after work, and then I had an hour to do some editing and get out of here before we needed to meet. I use the same program, and I'm strictly fueled these days on like leftover burritos from DoorDash. I'll DoorDash one day, get two burritos, and then have one the next day. Just too much going on.
The Virgo in me wants to cook for you.
Oh man. We're busy. We're all busy. That's so kind of you, though.
I
But
was
Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
What are they going to be doing for you?
Chinese. I've already asked.
Oh, perfect.
I've lost a lot of weight this year and I've been dieting, so I've not had many cheat meals. So I'm gonna do a cheat meal on Sunday.
Live
And
it up.
besides, we get the Sunday scaries. If you are a teacher, Jessica, about what time do Sunday scaries start appearing?
around 3 o'clock and I
Around 3 o'clock.
change. Yes, I change into a different person. I get more fidgety and I just am counting down the hours to impending doom. And then I get to the classroom and it's fine. But it's like almost stage fright, I think.
It is. It's
Sunday
like you're
scaries.
preparing. You're like, all my lesson plan's done. Laundry, got to do laundry. Let me do all the laundry and meal prep. And oh, is my lunch packed? You just feel like you got all this to do. And we start revving this up at like 3 p.m. on Sunday with that thought, got to be in bed by 8:30. So
You have a nice regiment. I have a goblin regiment. So what happens with me is 3 o'clock hits and I am in vegetative state. I am not meal prepping. I'm telling myself, I'll find something in the fridge in the morning. Actually, I was just talking to Will today saying I need to start getting back into my routine of things. I just haven't been in a good routine months this whole year, honestly. And a part of it is because we keep deciding, Nico, to do projects together
I'm so
and then
sorry.
I'm not doing my routine.
Yeah.
But it's all been fun. So it's like I get used to something and then I place it. Get used to something and place it, but I haven't gotten used to anything. And the end of the year at school is tough. It's
May
just...
I bet.
is known as Maycember. Maycember. Our calendars are very filled.
All right, I'm feeling like a little bit of the energy flowing. I feel like I'm waking up a little bit.
Normal people go to happy hour, Jessica.
I do not go to
I feel
happy hour.
judged. I feel judged.
Yeah, normal people go to happy hour.
They don't. They,
I haven't I haven't been to a happy hour in 2 years, 2.5. But that's because schools aren't corporate. So it's like nobody goes to happy hour because you get out of work at 2:30. Are you gonna go to Chili's from 2:30 to 8? Maybe some people do. I don't know.
It's a long haul.
This podcast is not, what is the word? Know me. Sponsored by Chili's. None of you helped me with that one. You just left.
I didn't know.
We just had no idea where you were going with that, Jessica. I was like, this is not a attestation of going into teaching, thinking about Sunday scaries and drinking on Friday.
Teaching really is rewarding, we promise.
Especially with everything kind of going on. And I know you and I, Mom, agree on everything. That's our viewpoints are very much aligned, but not to get too deep into any of it. It is kind of nice for the Pope that was nominated, right? Or elected.
He's elected. Yes, Pope Leo. I'm actually kind of excited. You know, I don't have a strong affiliation with the Catholic Church. We were brought up Catholic, of course. I'm going to church with my mom tomorrow. I do find I'm a spiritual person, so I do find the times when I go, you know, that moment of quiet, it does give you it. And I worship through song. I love to sing all the songs, Jesse knows. And, you know, he seems to be a little bit more progressive in his viewpoints as far as taking people for the fact that they're humans. And the Pope was always supposed to be like Jesus, right? He was Jesus's human representative here on earth. That's the way I always looked at it. And so, you know, Jesus, you know, was a refugee. He was a brown man. He was, you know, from the Middle East. He was not, you know, if you take a look at what he is, he loved and forgave a woman who was supposed to be a prostitute. He, you know, went up in amongst the tax collectors and the lepers and the people who were society's rejects. And so, you know, when I look at somebody who's going to represent that, I want definitely someone who also walks the walk and talks the talk.
Exactly.
So I think he will be a good leader. I think he'll put some true Christianity in that word.
Excellent. Also, I hope he tweets more about not liking JD Vance.
JD Vance visited the Pope and he died a day later. I mean, come on.
We all agree. Should we take this out? Or, I mean, we agree with you.
I mean, did he have
like
like poison on his hands and be like, I don't know?
That would be a historically Italian thing to do.
Exactly. It's like very, very mafia-esque. So.
Or even the Medicis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Bring it back. Bring it all the way back. No, but I saw somebody say something that a pope wouldn't come from America unless America was in decline in a global political sense. And because they wouldn't elect an American pope to give more power, you know, like a monopoly of power.
Exactly. No concentration of power.
Yeah, concentration. That's better. I like the word monopoly. I say it too much, I feel.
Never. No. We need more attention on monopolies.
But I just feel like when I saw that, I was like, you know, there's a lot of these quotes coming up and they from a long time ago and they're fitting in. They're fitting in a little bit.
So is that a prophecy that someone gave, like some kind of like Edgar Casey or something?
It was a reverend or a priest. I saw the collar. I don't remember who it was, but he was saying that. So it's
because
interesting.
The people that they were looking at as being, you know, that person to do that. One, I think, was from the Philippines. One was from Africa. I mean, they were looking at different where they were. And I think actually an Italian also, where they were saying, oh, there hasn't been an Italian pope for a really long time. You know, supposedly in this guy, Pope Leo, he wasn't even really on the radar. So, you know, they must have been very moved to have him be the leader, and they have to be kind of united on it.
It's kind of cool, the timeline we're living in. I just have to say, it's dark and awful, but also kind of cool because a lot of stuff is happening.
The wild ride.
Yeah, I hate the ride.
I'm screaming for my life.
But I'm on it, and I'm going to appreciate it.
But remember, that's where true change comes from, because think back to civil rights riots in the 90s or anything that people have fought for throughout. Every single generation has had something that they've had to deal with or something that they've had to effect change. And it's not comfortable for sure. And that you say that this is happening. But hopefully when you get a lot of voices and you get a lot of people doing something, then you're moving in the right direction, because you cannot make change without the discomfort, without the conflict. Because if everybody was, that's just apathy, and nothing is going to change.
Hell yeah.
So we have to raise voices, and we have to do, and I think there's more power in doing things and continuing to write and continuing to create and then continuing to kind of plow through that. There's a lot of advancements with AI, and I think it's going to be a lot of AI innovation, right? But there's also going to still need to be that human element. And so we can't let AI make us apathetic with our creative energies, because, you know, we still have to prompt it. It's not doing it by itself. And we still have to be able to have it. But if it's going to diagnose something that a human might miss, right? That's a good thing. So being able to detect to the minutest microscopic cell that someone has cancer and here's the treatment, that is something that could revolutionize the medical industry. A human eye may miss that. That's something we should embrace. But at the same time, we have to make sure that our youth, and Jessica knows I'm very passionate about education, we can't suppress our youth from being able to pick up the pen, pick up the pencil, the paintbrush, you know, get their fingers dirty, get out in the garden and plant stuff, because those are things that AI is not going to be able to do.
Right. Unless we're living in the Terminator timeline. And then things
There are hands.
could get weird. But I definitely think it's hard as a creative to not get apathetic at times when the AI is encroaching on the arts. But it's such a good, powerful statement that you just said about not letting it thwart you from creating and to almost create something in spite of it, you know?
See, it's all AI. You can look at AI art and know that AI did it, right? So the eyes are just a little big. The skin is a little bit, you know, dewier. The hair is just super perfect, right? You don't have any flaws because AI created it. And it's very, to me, it's very flat. So you can really see that, and you can tell AI has done it. There have been programs way before AI. There have been computer programs that wrote books. They were followed the same rote trope that was very, you know, popular for the time, right? Or whatever. You can tell what books those are because they're the same. You're just reading the same thing. They just change the names, the dates, the places, and the settings. But when a human writes it, right, you can really tell there's depth to it, especially because people write from their experiences.
Right.
Yeah. And AI doesn't have experiences, and that's where the best literature comes from, right? So, you know, we're going to have to find a world where they're going to have to balance, because it's here. You're not getting rid of it.
And that's so true. The thing is, if AI isn't legislated upon intelligibly, quickly, then it will put out of business all of the people that are creative in whatever way they still are able to eke out a living. And then there will not be anything new to generate off of. And we will be living in this cyclical hellscape. You can extrapolate it to like the worst possible version of what like the future could look like. And that's the thing I think that I'm most afraid of. That's the story I was thinking of writing, the short story I was thinking of writing, Jess. Yeah.
Do you remember the movie? Isn't it Wall-E, where like all the people are fat and they're in those little hover chairs and they rode around? Because it's basically the reason for existence, right?
Oh, no.
Tough.
Yeah, it's definitely like we talk about all the time, capitalism. But
I didn't say it this time.
I know. I feel like I had to say it this time, you know, surprise everybody. But it is kind of a tough situation. Like, I know, like, I've said it before a few times now, like, I'm at the end of one chapter of something that I thought was a calling, you know, teaching. And everybody in my family said, you would be a wonderful teacher. You work so well with kids. And I do work so well with kids. I love working with kids. Like, their imaginations, they're inspirational. You could go on about it. But the fulfillment there in the system now isn't meshing with me. And I can't say it never will again, but I think it's definitely a different beast of a job than some others out there that you can go in, clock out, forget about it.
I want to explore the idea, Jessica, about opening a micro school. So we'll talk about that. And it could be an art
another job.
An endeavor.
Another project.
But imagine another project. But imagine a
Something,
micro
Jess.
school where you do have the opportunity to have kids learn through art or movement. It's more than just a Montessori approach. I'm talking about where they're actually able to. There's math and art in what? Math and drawing. There's math and music. There's all kinds of, I mean, they were saying that Mozart was a mathematical genius, but he was a composer. Why was it,
Right.
Sagittarius.
Hmm?
He was a Sagittarius.
You know that off the top of your head? Oh my gosh.
I know some.
I
There's
want
like a
her on my
Rolodex up
trivia
here.
team. She's on my trivia team.
Well, technically our trivia team, she can add to ours. You can't just take her from me.
I know.
Okay?
Well,
It's an hour thing.
we have a family trivia team. We are the Kooks.
Like the band?
No, I love the band, but Keepers of Odd Knowledge.
Even better. We love, yeah,
An acronym?
acronyms.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brain.
No, but I think my dad came up with it one time when we were there. I won't take credit. I could have stolen it. I think my mom would have been quiet for a second. I think she would have let me have it.
Yes. No stolen valor here.
In a public
But-
setting, so I wouldn't have argued.
But come Sunday, Jesse, you didn't come up with that. It would be funny.
I'm very excited for Jessica's venture and her bravery and stepping out and doing this. My husband and I, from the very beginning, wanted both of our girls to be able to develop independence and be strong and make decisions. And they do. Both of them have always made decisions that do not, it's not like they're not smoking weed in my basement. Let's put it that way.
Love it.
They have a good sense of self. And because of being women, there was no way that either one of them, I did not want them to depend on a man. Or Jessica, how many hours did you have to wallow?
Oh, this is a good motherly advice. Good. This is good.
Good
Okay.
Mother's Day special. Yeah,
Yes.
dish.
Okay. I went through a couple breakups. I forget which breakup you had told me this specifically, but I think it was like the high school boyfriend. I think my mom was so worried for me because I literally crashed out on the carpet. I won't do it all for you guys, but I still can remember that pain because it's like your first love or whatever. But at my first serious, imagining living together, whatever.
Yeah,
He cheated on me,
Scoundrel.
like happens. And it was a big dramatic thing. It's actually pretty cringy, pretty spectacular of entertainment, but maybe for another time.
Bonus content.
Yeah, other content. But I was really down and I just didn't know what to do. And my mom was like, don't do anything today. You have 24 hours to wallow. You wallow in it for 24 hours and then you gather up all the shit he gave you and you put it away and you get rid of it. And that's it. Goodbye the next day. And it was like compartmentalizing my pain without ignoring my pain. So it was like I was able to feel it and work my way through it. But I wasn't able to victimize myself of woe is me. My mom's advice has always been, and I've told you this, very logical, very much like she's not that she won't pitchfork and torch for you, but she will make sure she has all of the facts. She's not going to go pitchfork and torch somebody's house unless she knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that they're the ones that are in the wrong and that I really need them to be pitchforked. Maybe I'm going to change my mind the next day, like that kind of thing.
Yes.
Or just the fact that I can pitchfork for you, or I can hand you the pitchfork and say, go get him, bitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
I always wanted them to fight their own battles.
Some kids, because they're not lucky enough to have like good parents or like supportive people in their life, grow up feeling like they've constantly failed, you know? And with that, they either have a chip on their shoulder in adulthood of like, oh, I had to do everything on my own, and it's another battle, you know what I mean? The harder the child, or like as they grow up, the more resilient they are, the better off, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather have a chip on my shoulder of like, I had to do everything. Not that I had to, because I had amazing parents. But if I grew up soft, though, like, I don't know how, that would be my biggest fear, would be like you don't stand up to your like partner if they're wrong. Like, I could.
like if someone didn't help you learn boundaries, or if someone didn't help you give the space.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a topic for a whole other conversation, because there's a lot of movement, with some factions in society who want to make women submissive and docile, and and call them, oh, they're good Christians, in a very patriarchal way. That's a whole nother topic of things. But
we brought you on because we wanted to talk about your business, and not just because it kind of goes with our business, but kind of how you decided to get into it. Do you want to like explain it a little bit?
You mean Simple Planner Designs?
Yes.
Right.
Name drop it. Yeah.
All right. So, about 6 years ago, saw someone at my previous school had a planner. In our job, you have to be planned all the time. And I'm kind of a planner naturally, as Jessica will know, make lists. Going on vacation, I'm like the little tour guide and the master of everything, schedule oriented. And I was like, ooh, what's that? What do you have over there? And it was called the Happy Planner, and the Happy Planner was coming out. And I'm like, they actually made a planner, and it's called the Happy Planner. This is speaking my love language. So I started to get into it. I actually bought a different planner that had better quality paper, and it's evolved over the past couple of years.
And speaking of, my mom kind of glossed over her planning. I think I want to dive into this just a little bit. So anytime I have to have a ticket for something, so like when you go on a trip and you want to do excursions and you want to go see stuff. This past time we went to Scotland, and my mom had generously bought us the train tickets and sent it to us. So we were supposed to, no, she gave them to us.
On Easter,
she gave it to us in a baggie. Will and we thought we were being so good, and we put this bag in a special spot that we promised to remember. We lost it, and we completely forgot she even printed them out for us. So we were like, did you even give it to us? And she was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Then when we met up, she's like, don't worry, I've already printed it out. So that's just like mom mode, I feel. But with your planning, you've always made sure we've seen every cool thing that we've gone to all the time, done a lot of research. When we're there taking pictures, I think we scrapbooked a long time, like since I was in elementary school. We went to Monticello, Mount Vernon. I got that big old nickel. I put it in my scrapbook. So junk journaling and planning and stuff has kind of been a part of my life. You also made cards too for a long time.
I still do.
Stampin' Up.
Yeah, it's a creative outlet. I think everybody needs to have a creative outlet. You have your work, and I'm very fulfilled by my work, very passionate about education. But what I was saying before is I'm a big believer in strategic planning.
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Systems design thinking and yeah.
yeah, because one of the most precious limited resource you have is time. So if you're going to go on vacation, you have a week, maybe 2 weeks, right? And you want to have some downtime, but you also want to be able to see everything. So if you're a planner, you know how to do that. I still sit down every Sunday. In fact, I have it here. I sit down every Sunday, and this is an example of my plans. Now they're pretty. See, the stickers make it beautiful. There's butterflies and everything, but see, everywhere there's a sticker, that's a pre-planned meeting. It is in stone. This is a block of time that's not available. Then when I sit and I look out for the week, I'm able to see, okay, if somebody walks into my office and they need something, I can immediately look and see these are where my free times are. And I kind of attack vacations the same way, only because, well, we want to lay on the beach for 2 hours, and have that, but we also want to have an adventure. But if you don't plan, this is what you get. What would you like to do today? I don't know. What would you like to do today?
Right, exactly. And I think Grammy is very planning forward. My grandmother is also a Virgo. You also had 3 brothers too. So like planning had to be a thing. And you were the oldest sister. So you're like,
I was bossy boots for sure.
It's all coming together. Yeah.
I wish every day that planning gene hit me.
We tried. I think we went through in a middle school, how many binders or systems of organization and planning?
Let's talk about, I think I bring up an embarrassing story on myself every pod, so let's just keep this going.
It's a tradition.
I just never understood, and I don't know if it's just because now we know so much more about like ADHD and like how it's in girls like different. So I don't know if I was dealing with that and it was easier to hide or, it's frustrating, but I would just shove my papers, just shove them in the backpack. I also hated homework. I never did my homework. I thought I'm acting like I had this plan, but I was a child. It's like, well, if it's messy, who's going to check? Who's going to check? My mom. My mom is going to check because she wants to make sure I have everything in line because she's been planning it. So we would dump out my backpack. I would have Mount Everest of notes crumpled here and there. We went from a binder to a spiral 5-subject notebook because I can't leave that anywhere, can't mess that up. But then the teachers would give like all these handouts, like all the syllabi. Okay.
Syllabi.
They would give us all of those the first week or two. I would just get so inundated with papers.
Yeah.
And admin to this day is so stressful for me because I try to be better. But I mean, luckily I married somebody who's very good at admin. Like, I don't think I'd survive.
My mother is very nervous and upset with paperwork. It stresses her out. I can watch her stress level go up because of it. It's, I used to put it down to age, but I think she's always been that way. And my dad was more the one to be the analytical mind to be able to do it. She relies on me a lot for just answering some of the questions or helping out, especially because so much is tied to technology now. And you mentioned ADHD. A lot of people who suffer ADHD suffer executive dysfunction, which planners are a way of being able to compensate. It's a compensatory technique. So and people who suffer from anxiety, because they can do a brain dump. So a lot of the times it's swirling in your brain. It's swirling. It's keeping me up at night, or it's not whatever I'm doing. A lot of planners like this one, they have like just a free notes page and you can just brain dump on it. So the list of things to do, or the quote I was remembering, or I want to include this in my book or my story or whatever, it gets it out and down, which relieves anxiety. And that's part of strategic planning too. So my business was there were quite a few shops on Etsy that sold stickers, and they were printable stickers. I bought a silhouette machine, and I was spending money buying something I could download and then print. And I'm like, I could probably do that. I could do it. So it was actually for Mother's Day. The girls and their dad gave me my very first Cricut machine. It was a Cricut cutter, and I was so, so excited. And it sat in the box, not for too long, maybe about a week. I took it out of the box and started playing with it. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to open my shop. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to open my own shop and see what happens. And it was, to be quite honest, a way for me to have a tax write-off because now I have a home office and I have a machine and I have an Etsy and, I'm on the up and up. So it was feeding my habit and my personality. And then I heard my first, I don't know if you've ever heard a cha-ching. An Etsy goes cha-ching, and you get an order come in. And I remember hearing that sound, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody bought one of my stickers. That's crazy.
I feel like it really invigorated you, like you were excited about it. And now that like I'm starting my own venture with Nico and everything, it's a similar sense of like invigoration of I got to do this, I got to do that. It's not I got to do this. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm tired, but I mean, it's different. It's like a different type of tired.
I was just thinking about that today.
Yeah, and a lot of shop owners, they're going to different planners, right? Laurel Denise, Erin Condren, Happy Planner, Recollections, Plum Paper. There's all different types of planners, and they all have different strip sizes and different box sizes and things like that you design for. But instead of expanding that way into multiple different planners, I'm really looking to branch out. And I was telling Jessica, I really want to get into bookish merch, things like bookmarks. So I was looking at how you can make them on clear paper so they look like stained glass. And so when you hold the bookmark over the book, Jess, I'll use one of your favorite books, like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, right? So you have The Hobbit, but your bookmark is the Shire, and then you have it kind of like if you're holding it in the light, your bookmark, the light comes through and it shines like the image on the page. It's very beautiful, getting into bookmarks. Stickers, of course, people put them on like your Stanley Cup that you had just there, or, their Kindle, they put it on. And there's some ones that are really cute to put stickers on. We've seen some naughty ones that I want to get into, but
we have no more.
Some little naughty ones like, smut, and I'm a girl who reads smut, like little things like that with the graphics and the designs. So instead of doing just like, pre-sized stickers for a specific planner or brand, like maybe there's a sci-fi theme, or Jess and I were talking about, so you can see this is the other part of the journal. So see, it's just very pretty, just a little sticker that's a scallop edge and a top, but look how inviting that is to write on, right?
And I know you wanted to make, Nico, some merchandise for your anthology coming out, The Forbidden Fruit, but you are like a little extra because you are designing it. You're drawing it like yourself.
Yeah, thank you. But yes, thank you. Extra. I wear it like a badge of honor. I think you make great points, both of you, and I think it's such a smart decision to branch out into that more vibe-based, sorry, this is what the kids would say, more vibe-based, custom interest focus, as opposed to making different sizes available for lots of different planners, like other Etsy shops are trying to do as well, because then you're reducing the amount of inventory, so shelf space, you're reducing the amount of listings, which I think is still something that Etsy charges by, or at least way back in the day they used to. So I think
they do.
If you can keep like one design per one size and then just scale the designs that can be used on any application. Nalgene bottles, I almost said Walkman, like a tape cassette player, but I think that's so smart. Even creators want to do it. It's not just the readers that are the consumer too. There's a desire from like creators to be able to provide a certain kind of experience.
For sure. I mean, like even at Indie Creator Collective, it's like just streamlining what do people want, but also what do I like? Because this is going to be around. I want to put like the stickers and the artwork that like my sister's been hard at work making, or like the artists that I've hired and stuff like that. Like I want to put them places, but I don't want to put a sticker that I don't like. Unless the readers vote, you know, they are the super PAC, you know, whatever.
Yeah, they are the super PAC. I was gonna say guiding light, but that's perfect.
Guiding light's good too.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, we usually end this with a lie. And you're gonna have to come up with a lie.
I am no good at lying.
An example, it's hilarious to try and come up with them. We're also not good at it, but some examples of what we've done before are like my
I think
apartment's on fire.
I thought I began with a lie because I said I was a virgin.
Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. You could say, this has been Bam, now you know everything, including that I'm a virgin. If Trump can be the Pope, you can be a virgin.
His skin tone clashes totally with all of the popish garb that he would have to wear. There's no way. And it would mess up his hair.
Oh my gosh, he would get makeup on or self tanner on the miter.
Right.
Blasphemy!
Sorry.
But they don't care.
Can't say it.
You can pick a different one.
I was gonna look, I'm like crying.
Marjie's got to go cook for the Pope. So thanks for listening, and join us next time on Bam, Now You Know Everything.
Yeah, okay, I love that.
I like it too.